Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of FishTec Live. Yes, tonight is actually live, and let's hope we don't have the problems that we had last month. Guys, I know a lot of you have been very frustrated with regard to most of the attention with regard to maps coming out of KZN. But guys, I do live here, so obviously they did get most of my attention. But tonight we're talking about the northern provinces. So guys, if you fish any of those northern provinces areas, if you fish Saba, if you fish FLW, if you fish for fun, whatever, get the most out of your electronics. And the way you're going to do that is by using charts. Remember, most of you guys did not get into fishing to become mapping masters and spend time logging and what have you. Do that, of course. I'm not saying don't do that. But the big thing is you want to go fishing. And here at FishTec, that's what we want to do for you. We want to create charts as fast as possible for you so that you can get on the water and do what you love most, and that's fishing. So let's get into it. Guys, when you first get your unit, you're going to pull it out of the box. This is the new Elite TI. You're going to power it up. You're going to look on the unit. You're going to look on your charts. It's going to start up in Tulsa, United States, and then it's going to go through a basic startup and a setup, and then you're going to eventually it's going to pick up the GPS. It's going to lock on to wherever you are in the country, and you're going to zoom in, and you're going to be very sad because everything all of a sudden disappears. So let me just see if this is working. See, the connection is very good tonight from Johan Copenhagen. Hello, good evening, Johan. Great, thanks for that. That's awesome. At least it's working. Thank you. Okay, so what I was saying was you get to, let me just, I'm going to change this here quickly. Okay. I'll be with you now. That up and running. Just want to connect. I'm using a HDS 9 tonight, generation 3. Once again, the reason why I'm doing it, because every now and again I'm going to keep referring you back to the Elite TI. I know a lot of you guys think that the Elite series, for some other reason, you think is inferior products or whatnot. It really and truly isn't. And I'm going to keep pushing that. The Elite TI really and truly is a fantastic unit. But for tonight, I'm going to be using a Generation 3, just in case you were asking. Behind me, you can see the Swaziland, South African screen. I'm just going to zoom out. And I've got this under Navionics. But unfortunately, okay, there's a whole lot of maps that I've loaded there. These are the Northern Provinces charts that I've put in. And generally, as you zoom in and you get closer to your location or body of water or whatnot, everything it goes white and disappears. You might have some trails there. If you've been on the water a couple of times, you might have some waypoints, or somebody gave you some waypoints. They were nice enough to loan you some waypoints. So, and that's all you're going to have. But, man, this is, these units, the HDS Generation 3, the new Carbon, the Elite TI, these are just such phenomenal units. They can do so much for you. The guys don't realize how often they have to keep getting a wake-up call and saying, look what this thing can actually do. It's just amazing. So anyway, so what you'll do is the first step, and listen, guys, if you buy a unit, the first thing you have to do, just naturally, buy the SA Inland charts. Don't get the FishTec charts first. Get the SA Inland. There's 40 dams with contours on there. Some of them are great, some of them not so great, but you know what? For 580 Rand, 600 Rand, give us a shot and get them. And this is what you're going to have. So let's move up to our Northern Province area. I'm going to zoom in. And that's your standard sort of background, but you'll see these checks in front of you. And then at some point, it changes. Let's go to one that I know quite well. There's Loscorp. So let's go to Loscorp and let's see what we've got on Loscorp. As you can see, Loscorp has got some really nice contours. So for Loscorp, your SA inland charts is really going to do a nice job for you. So get them. You've got them. You can always swap them out. If you've got an Elite TI, remember the Elite TI has only got one card slot. You can put it in, depending on what dam works better for you. Put the relevant card in if you've got FishTec charts. But this is where you want to start, is over here. But what happens, what is our next stage? But hang on, I just want to show you what happens if you get to a dam that doesn't have these contours. In fact, we'll actually get to that a little bit later. Let's leave that now, and I'll show you later what it looks like if it hasn't got contours. Basically, what it is just a blue outline. Okay, zoom in. Let me just have a quick look here. Who's on here? Chad Mills. Good evening, Chad. How are you doing? John Minnie. Hello, John. Colleen, yeah, she says everything's cool. Great. No panic stations tonight. Okay, back to Loscorp. Okay, so now we've got these contour charts, but if you've got an HDS Gen 2 even, anything that has got 2 card slots, the latest Northern Provinces charts, you can actually load both charts at the same time. You can put your Northern Province chart in, and you can put your SA Inland charts. This is a new update. This was only done this last week. So I think there's only a handful of guys that have returned units. And guys, I apologize for that. I know it's a real pain having to send them and courier them backwards and forwards, but unfortunately, it's the only way around it. We haven't developed an online secure method of actually doing this. And then, of course, the amount of data it's a lot of data that you need to transfer, but you never know what's going to happen in future. But for now, please, and I apologize for the cost involved and the hassle and all that, but it is what it is right now. Hopefully things do change. Okay, so like I said, if you've got both cards, you've popped both the cards in, you're going to go to your chart source, you'll see a whole lot of names. As you put that Northern Province, the FishTec HD, FishTec Northern Provinces chart in, you will see a whole lot of names come up, and do you want to load this chart? And you're going to say yes, 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 yes. Now, I want to emphasize this. Every time that you say yes on that, when it asks what chart you want to load, on that tiny little card, that you've just put into the unit, every time you say yes, it's like you've added a new chart every single time. So as much as a bit annoying it is for the first time you start it up and you've got to say yes, 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 just remember, it's just data upon data upon data that you're loading, all from that one card. If you didn't want that, if I couldn't put it all on one card, for every place you go to, for every sediment, you would have to take you would have to buy a whole bunch of these full containers and have all your dams, and that's how it used to be in the old days, if you guys remember. Now, your Northern Provinces chart is on one little memory card. So, yes, it's still worth it. What I'm going to do quickly, I've got it on Lawrence. Can you guys see that? Yes. As great as what the contours are, what would the Northern Province, the FishTec Northern Provinces chart do, for example, for Loscorp? Well, let's have a look at it. The first thing which we've got, obviously, is sediment. So let's go to the sediment and see what we've got there. Okay. There on the sediment, you can see this is a hybrid chart. This is something that I've created. I've taken satellite imagery. I've taken the sediment chart. I've put a little bit of color into there, and you can see there's quite a bit of detail there. I hope you guys get it, and if you're getting enough quality, you can see that's a sort of thing that you can expect from these charts. But I want to show you something very, very interesting here. How the SA inland charts relates to the sediment chart. Remember the old sediment charts, the old dwarf charts. Remember Martin de Kock in our very first show was talking about the dwarf charts, the sediment charts. This is what we're looking at now. This is the data that a company called Map IT got their hands on. They got the paper data, they converted it, they digitized it, they created contours, and they were the first guys to actually sell that data to Garmin. I don't know if you remember, that was the Waterways 2009. Then we also, especially us Lawrence guys, we suffered terribly from FOMO, and a few years later, Liz and one of her dear friends, Ian, he went over to the States and they set up a thing, and before we knew it, he had his hands on that data, and we had the SA inland charts. But I want to show you how the SA inland charts relates to the sediment chart. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go back to Lawrence. That's your SA inland chart. But watch what you can do here now. This is with the new update, the new Northern Provinces update. I'm going to go to View. Now, please remember this. This is quite important. This menu that we're looking at now, you really want to remember this. Categories. And I'll repeat it. Categories. Remember categories. Look for categories. There's a lot going on here. And you've got so much control over what you want to see and what you don't want to see. Let me see if I can extend that. You see, I've turned off all the water information now. All I want is the depth contours. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. I just want the depth contours. Okay. There we go. Can you see what has happened here? Behind it is the hybrid chart. It's got satellite, it's got the sediment, and it's got the contours. But look how those contours match up. Well, they're pretty close. Can you see that? You can now see where that data came from. Are you guys getting that? Let me just see. Anybody? Quality is good so far. Good evening, Shane. Thank you. Okay. If there is a problem, guys, please just let me know. Anyway, so there's proof of where the data comes from. Okay. And let me tell you, this is really great. Let's take another example of another dam of where this can really help out. One of the dams the guys are talking about a lot, I know there was some carp action going on here, I think this last weekend. Let's have a look. No, not on Rode copies. Let's have a look at Hartbeespoort. See what happens at Hartbeespoort. Okay, there we go. There we go. You can actually see, there's your contours there. We're going to zoom in. Now, guys, this is the beauty of using your contour charts, your SA inland charts with the FishTec Northern Provinces charts. You can get this data together. Let's just zoom in. And as you zoom in, you'll get more and more information here. It just, the only thing that's a little bit off here, I don't know if you guys are noticing this, those depth values. Obviously, there's been a lot of building going on here since the old sediment charts. So you can see how it's, you know, that whole area has been developed. And when those sediment charts were created, that wasn't there. So let's go to an older area. This is an area I know well. I actually spent a few years in Schoemansville as a kid. Okay, again, it's a little bit interesting, as you can see with the depth information here. So I am going to caution you and say, listen here, just beware of the depth values. You know, don't rely on the depth values on this. Look at the contours. The contours are a really good guideline. But remember, the people that created that data had just about no way of knowing. I know there's reference lines with values on those charts, and they represented something to do with altitude, but very often it didn't interpret very well. So just be patient in a case like that. What I suggest you do in a case like this is sign up with Insight Genesis. It's free. There's absolutely no cost involved whatsoever. Take you a couple of minutes to sign up. Once you signed up, you can download charts directly from the unit, or you can do it on your computer. But I want to show you something that we've done here. Let's go to, I'm going to go to Ruder copies quickly for a sec. Who's that? Good evening, Theo Kruger. Thanks for this, John. It helps me a lot. Still trying to get mine sorted out. Oh, good evening, Theo. Don't worry, we'll get that sorted out. But let me know what issues you are having. Drop me a mail and we'll see if we can sort it out. Right, let's go down here. I want to look at this area here, but what I want to do first is I want to turn that off and see what we've got. Okay, we've got absolutely nothing there. Let's zoom in here. This is Rudderkoppie's Dam. Most of you guys know this area quite well. I just want to show you what happens when we turn this water category back onto full. That's the idea that you're going to get if you don't know how to manipulate the categories and you don't know how to turn certain things on and off, especially underwater. This is what you will see if you combine it with your SA inland charts. And while we're here, sorry guys, I'm going to jump all over the place a little bit. I don't know if you saw last week, we put a thing on, I shared a link. It was Michael Iaconelli talking about secondary points. Now, let me tell you, this is a classic example to actually use here. What was Ike talking about when he was talking about secondary points? If you had to look at this map and you're in this section, that is obviously a bay. I don't know if you can see that. This is obviously a point. Okay, you zoom in there. Unfortunately, there's no other contour data available for this area. But even if there is no other contour data available for the area, if you use the history satellite imagery of when the dam was lower, you might find something very, very interesting, like what we've got here, particularly this type of spot. And to go back down to those depth contours, turn them on. Depth contours. Okay, can you see what happened there? That was the point where my cursor is at the moment. That was the point which we'd identified. Now that the water's gone down and we've got these charts, all of a sudden you've got the secondary point. Now, Ike isn't always talking about secondary points as big as this. Secondary points can be something as small as that. That can be a little secondary point. So your interpretation of a secondary point, but in the big scheme of things, we first, from our SA inland charts, we identified that particular spot as a point, and now we've identified this as a secondary point. Now, this latest, again, I'm repeating it, this latest software upgrade, not software upgrade, the update on the Northern Provinces charts. What I added there was, if you go to Rudderkoppie's, you see all these names down the side here. Let's go to Rudderkoppie's. I've created folders in the chart on the card so that you can go to your Insight Genesis account. Remember, I can't do that for you. You've got to sign up under your name, your email address, and issue the content ID of your particular unit to Insight Genesis, and it will then allow you to download charts. But I've created the folders for you. So the only thing you've got to remember, whatever dam you download, those files that you download, you need to put into these folders on this card. Just be very careful not to delete anything. Be very careful there. So let's go to Rudderkoppie's. I want to tap Rudderkoppie's, and look at that. We've now got contours. Now remember, this is accurate data. This was not data that was taken from sediment charts or whatever. This is somebody went out there and actually recorded this. Now, this particular little section has been here for a while on Insight Genesis, but I want to give a special shout out tonight to, I want to actually turn this off so you can see what this guy has done here. There we go. Johannes Oberholzer. This guy takes his time, his petrol, his money, and he's out there and he's logging sonar for Insight Genesis in the northern provinces. And Johan, I don't know if you're watching tonight, but from all of us, I want to thank you, because people are going to use your data for many, many years to come. Your children will even use this data, and our children will use this data. So we are very grateful for your input. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you do. Thank you very much. Okay, back to this here. If you just had the Insight Genesis, let's say you went and bought the SA inland charts and you signed up for Insight Genesis, this is what you're going to get on your unit. Still fantastic data. Is this a good spot? It looks like a good spot to me. It's a little bit of an obvious spot, which I think a lot of guys will cotton on to quite quickly, but you can fine tune it once you actually get there. But you combine those two things, your Insight Genesis, your SA inland charts, and let's go back to photo overlay, and we're going to turn the photo overlay on, and boom, now you've got the satellite imagery behind you, and you've got depth data, and you can see there's a 40-foot drop there. Up on the top of that point is 20 foot. You're looking at 20 foot. It's a 2-story building equivalent height change. Powerful stuff. Very, very powerful stuff. You can see that shoreline there running at 5 feet. That is pretty good. Remember, we don't know what offset the original person that logged this placed on his recordings. So it is very difficult to actually determine. We are going to do a show. I want to talk just about Insight Genesis in a few months' time, or maybe even next time. I'm not too sure. No, we're getting a little bit close to world champs and all sorts of things, and we want to talk about the Vaal River and etc., and then Wriggleswade, and so it'll probably be after that. But I really, for you guys that do want to get involved with the social map side of Insight Genesis and contribute to that, I want to give you some guidelines on how to make it work the best way possible, because it is possible, especially with our fluctuating dam levels, as much as they have been, that a chart can be ruined with data that was not corrected. But anyway, don't worry about that now. That's something we will do at a much later stage. Okay, let's move away from rotocopies. Trying to think of different types of situations. Let's go back. We're going to go back to Lawrence. Okay, there we are there. Let's take, yes, let's have a look at this one. So I'm just going to randomly choose. If you guys would like to see a specific dam, please, Francois Smith wants to see Makolo. Thank you. Let's look at Makolo. Who was that? Francois Smith. Hello, Francois. Yes, good idea. Let's go and have a look at that. What was Makolo called before? I'm sure it had a strange name, wasn't it? Hans Stradum Dam. I think that's what it is. But anyway, let's look at Makolo. Okay, what we've got for Makolo is the SA inland charts is on top here, obviously. You've got all those contours. Let me zoom into this point here. Again, can you see where the data came from? You can see how similar the sediment is to the SA inland charts. If it does become a little bit busy, like what it is doing now, what you can do is go back to your categories and just go and turn water off completely. There it is there. No, that was turning it on. We have another try at that. Sorry. Off. There we go. Okay. So that is the type of information that you can expect from this area. But what you can also do, remember, you've got your SA inland charts, you've got this hybrid imagery here under the what was it called, under the Lawrence data on the Northern Provinces charts. But let's go and have a look if anybody did any logging here with Insight Genesis. I think it was Hans Stradom, if I remember correctly. View. I'm going to turn that off to see if there. Yes, there was. Okay, somebody has done a bit of mapping here. Zoom in here. I really like. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. I don't know who did this, who went and recorded this little area, but well done, guys. I would far rather trust the Insight Genesis data for this area than any other data. Obviously, your sediments are a very, very good guideline, but remember, this is something where somebody's gone and actually recorded this with sonar. So you can overlay it. Look what happens if I zoom in really close. Okay, this is a very steep area here. Obviously, it's got a massive drop-off. This drops way off into 115 feet up there, up on this here. What does this come up to here? I'm presuming this is, you know, when the dam's full. 27, 26, 25, it's 24 feet. So this area that's labeled in red up there is normally in about 24 feet of water when the dam's full, and then drops all the way off into 115 feet down there in that section there. So that's a massive drop off there. While we're here, I just want to remind you of something. Let's say you want to work on this particular area, but you want to look at two different charts at the same time. You can do that. You push pages, hold charts down. I'm going to use chart plus chart. Now remember, this one here is going to be like a whole brand new chart plotter altogether. So you've got to tell it from scratch where to go and what to do. So we're going to go view. No, we don't want to do that. We want to put a photo overlay on full, and we want to find Mokolo. There it is up there. And there's our Mokolo chart. So you can have, obviously you won't have these cursors, which we're looking at now. Let me just see if, no, that's fine. You can either look, you can run these two panels side, you can even swipe that away. Let's swipe that away like that. You want to maximize the unit. You want to see these two spots. There you go. What you can also do in a case like this, if you want to see something like this, you can drive over here with your side scan. You want to get some finer detail here. On top of this, you can take menu, go to your overlay, and put on structure. Obviously, while you're writing, that's going to be live. It's going to place it there. When you're finished, you're going to say yes, convert that to structure map, and you'll change under overlay from live to saved, and you will now have a side scan mosaic over this area. And you can turn those on individually here. You see now it's off, or you can turn it on there. So again, you can effectively use these two panels as full chart plotters just by using overlays. So yeah, those are your options on Mokolo. Franco, I hope I didn't see any other questions. I don't know if there was a specific area that you wanted me to go and have a look at. But yeah, let me just go back to here. I'm going to zoom out. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go chart options. Let's go back to Lawrence. Okay, let's take, I want to show you what happens. I want to show you another option. Remember we started off with SA inland charts for 580 Rand. Then we looked at the Northern Provinces chart, which is a 2,100 Rand chart. And then we looked at the Insight Genesis, which is free, which is great. So let's go to the Vaal River and let's see what we get on there. This is SA inland data. Unfortunately, under the SA inland charts, there's nothing going on there. But last year, I was up on the Vaal River and I went and recorded it and I submitted this data to Insight Genesis. So this is free. This is what you can get. Combined with the with my Northern Provinces chart, this is the type of thing that you can expect. Or what you can do is you can go back, go to view, turn my photograph to off, and just get the Insight Genesis data like that. If you look at the detail there, you've got 1 foot contours. Really great information. The Vaal River FishTec HD chart, which is the side scan mosaics and all the photographs on that. Guys, I'm not going to talk about that tonight because that is a show all on its own, and we're going to be talking about that, I think it's next month. I'll confirm that later, but that's a big one. We just, no. Next month, I think, is Regals. We're talking about Wiggleswade. The month after that is going to be the Vaal River. But that we're really going to break down, and we're going to really talk about that in great detail. That's an incredible chart. So watch out for that. So I'm also going back to the river to do the other half, which is basically from the beach club down to the power station. So you can expect exactly the same sort of data, but on the other side. I just want to caution you while you're here. You know, if you purchase these charts and you get, to example here, you get to the TIBOS, and all of a sudden, look, there's not much structure there, so I don't think the contours are that important, but I did record it. But if you get here and you want to see how deep this river is when it's 100% full, what you can do is go back to your Vaal. This is TIBOS Spruit. You'll have to turn on TIBOS Spruit because they didn't just do the Vaal River as one river. There's TIBOS, there's the Vaal River, and then there's Suikerbos, I think it is. So you'd have to turn them on individually. But as you can see, there is the contour data there. Something else to notice here, this imagery in the background is satellite imagery. Can you see the problem here? I want to say that. The satellite image is off. So use the satellite information as a visual aid, but rather use the area that was recorded or logged as a more accurate representative of where that river channel really is. You don't have that problem with the Vaal West and soon to come Vaal East charts because that's all side scanned and photographed, and so the accuracy there is very good. But unfortunately with satellite imagery we cannot guarantee the accuracy as it's out of our control. Sure, we could do adjustments and whatnot, but it does turn into a little bit of a nightmare. If the dams were all perfectly square, it would be very easy to fix it and correct it, but unfortunately it's not. Everything is all over the place. So, and very often these satellite images are built up out of multiple images, and one's accuracy could vary to the next. So these are things that we've just got to live with. But remember, keep in mind, guys, 10 years ago, you look at what we had on our finals, like I said when we started talking tonight. there was nothing. There was a white screen. There was your waypoints and some tracks and trails, and that's it. Look what we've got now. We've just got option after option after option. We are the world leaders right now with regard to this type of thing. So yeah, you know, and it just gives your Lawrence units just so much value. It's really amazing. It gives you more time just to get stuck into fishing. And remember, like I said earlier, I'm repeating myself, but that's why you started this whole journey. It's about fishing. So anyway, that's the river. But is it just the river? No. I've got nothing for the actual Vaal Dam. Okay. A lot of guys have asked me about the Vaal Dam, and unfortunately, guys, I have nothing. I haven't done any satellite imagery. I don't have a sediment chart for it. I don't have anything. But if you are interested in the Vaal Dam, you can go and have a look at the Navionics chart. I'm going to change this here quickly. Just bear with me. Oh, am I doing the right thing here now? Guys, this might freak out. This might drop. I know while I was playing around with this earlier, it dropped the link, because what you see now is not my HDS, but you're actually looking at, I've linked it to my iMac. This is webapp.navionics.com. What you see here is what you would get on your Navionics Platinum charts. This is a 4,000 Rand chip, and whatever's on here is on this website. It's free. You can go and view it to your heart's content, and you can see what you would expect from this. So let's go down to the Vaal Dam and see what you would get there. It's taking a little bit of time. Oh, it's under a bit of pressure because I'm streaming and now this is loading, so there might be a little bit of a glitch there with my stream. So just have a look here, guys. Okay, this data has been available on Navionics on the old Navionics Gold chart, which is from India to Ghana, West Africa. It's a huge, huge area, including Maldives, Seychelles, Madagascar, you name it, Reunion. It's all on there. This data, this one and Garib Dam, has been on there for a very long time. It also has, for you guys that go to Kariba, it also has a really nice chart for Kariba. But there's something else that's interesting about this. I don't know if you're going to see it because it's behind me. I'm looking at the screen that's streaming to you. I think you're going to battle to see it. But you can select sonar chart. Can you see what happens? You've got much more contours all of a sudden. Now, this is the same sort of data you can expect when you go offshore for the saltwater guys. You turn on, it used to be called fish and chip. You could turn on the fish and chip layer and you had more contours. I want to caution you here. As some of it is extremely accurate, and I'm going to take this area here. This is a good example of the sonar chart, the fish and chip layer adding value. This Hawaii shoal, that is pretty good, and from what I've seen and whatnot, that makes sense and it's pretty accurate. But you get to situations like that, that is not correct. That is way off. The shoreline looks great, but from this shoreline on the left side here and this shoreline on here, this lot that happened here, there's some major guessing that took part there. A computer took control of that and just guessed it. I mean, you can just see from these contour lines, just taking these crazy 90-degree bends here. Don't trust that. Here, these ones here against the shore, trust it. Looks good, looks accurate, awesome stuff. But this lot in the middle, That is not very accurate. While we're on Navionics, again, I am going to have a night just about Navionics because there are some awesome tools available with the Navionics, particularly now available on the Generation 3, on the latest software update, and on the new Carbon. You've got Sonar Chart Live. So you can, if you've got this chart, this either the East Coast or any Navionics Plus chart, and you put it into your HDS Gen 3 or Carbon, and that overlay that you saw earlier where I selected structure, from that menu there'll be Sonar Chart Live. You select that, and as you drive, it's mapping for you, which is really, really nice. But I'd like to spend a little bit more time on that, and I need to spend a little bit more time on the water using it, so I can add a little bit more value to the show with regard to that. But look out for that show. There is value with Navionics. It's something it's a chart you'll have your whole life. So, and it also works very much like the FishTec charts, or let's rather say the FishTec charts work very much like the Navionics charts, where you buy into it for life. It's not like in the old days, John Easton making a card, sending it off willy-nilly, everybody's copying everything. No, this is done. FishTec HD charts and Navionics charts work very similar from a support, protection, annual subscription, first year free scenario. That is how they work. So when you think FishTec HD chart, think Navionics, it's the same type of system, protection, support that we're actually using. So anyway, let me move away from that. I'm going to change back to my HDS. There we go. Just want to change back. So I want to see if anybody said anything. John Diggle. Amazing stuff, John. Thanks. Good evening, John. Thank you for that. Jurg, Nell, I would like to learn more to operate my 9 Ti. Jurg, good evening, Jurg. I think we spoke this week. If it is, good evening. By all means, let's talk. And Mike Cannon. Good evening, Mike. Right, guys, let's move on to focus. Zoom out. These little dots that you see scattered all over the place. Each one of these is satellite imagery. I'd like to, Zanin. Let's have a quick look at Zanin. What goes on here? If you go to Zanin, you can see, unfortunately, Zanin has no. I'm going to turn the photo off and see what we get there. Let's go back. We're going to go to categories. I want to see what is on the original. Yeah. You see, this is your SA inland chart here. You guys will recognize this. But I find it very strange that Zanin doesn't have contours on the SA inland chart. I find that very strange because the sediment chart is so good, which we're going to have a look at now. But then let's look just down the road to Ebenezer. Just remember, guys, these things that we're just flicking through here from dam to dam to dam, if you were using any other brand, either you don't have charts at all, or the other big brand in South Africa, for every one of these, you would have to have a new separate chart for each one, or have to go home on your computer, load that dam, go back to the dam. Which one do you want? Do you want satellites, or, you're very restricted. We're just going from layer to layer, from chart to chart, one single card, 18 dams on it. Another chart, the SA Inland, got 40 dams with contours on it. You've got inside Genesis. It's, man, when you're talking charts, it's Lawrence. Sure, you can experiment, hit the lotto, buy boxes and boxes of different brands and experiment and whatnot. But we'll see you back here at Lawrence. And this is the type of thing that you can expect. Okay, here's Ebenezer. Now, this is a case of relatively poor contour lines. This is not great. Okay, so let's just put our photo overlay on and let's see what we got there. Yeah, this is one of those examples that I was talking about where the information here isn't great. Rather depend on the satellite imagery here. Let's just see if we've got a. Again, we just go from chart to chart to chart. Let's go. I'm looking for sediment. Have I gone blind? There's sediment. What have we got on the sediment? Back. View. No, there's nothing there for it, unfortunately. Okay, let's go back. I'm going to go back to Lawrence. You're going to have to play around a little bit and see what is there. My memory also is a bit dodgy. Who's there? Fricky, good evening, Fricky. How are you doing? Hola, John. Feed is much better. Oh, that's great. I'm glad that it's working a bit better. Malcolm Kutsia, good evening, Malcolm. How are you doing? Malcolm Kutsia says, hi, John. So would I be able to overlay sediment data over onto the Bronchies chart, then use that to find ledges? Can you demonstrate? Bronchies, yes. I'm going to do Zanine now quickly, and then we'll zip down to Bronchies. If I get distracted, I don't, just give me a shout out and say, hey, focus, and I'll get back there. But after Zanine, Malcolm, sure, we'll head down to Bronchies. Let's go here to Zanine. Okay, like we saw, unfortunately, not too exciting. No sediment data on the SA inland, but we have got the satellite here. But let's have a look what we can do there. Let's turn off, we're going to go view, categories. We're going to turn that water off again. But I would like to, just in case, go down to depth contours. Okay, it's not really going to help us here, but can you see what actually happened there? Look at this information that we've got here. Great stuff. But let's have a look if there's anything under Insight Genesis. Did anybody do any logging here? So we'll go to Zanine Dam, and boom, there we go. Somebody did. Whoever did it, guys, thank you very much. Anybody that I talk about, if I'm at the show and you see me referring to Insight Genesis data, and you know you went and recorded that, please, you don't have to do it publicly if you don't want to, but I would like to thank you. You've done a really great service, something that's going to be here for decades. So yes, anybody that goes out there, uses their fuel, records data, submits it to Insight Genesis, you guys are stars, man, absolute stars. You've got no idea what you're giving to the next person. Yeah, we've got catch and release, we're saving the fish, but hey, save your buddy. Go and do some recording. I know the guys like to keep it close to their heart and these secrets and all that type of thing. But guys, forget about that. There are so many things. Bass fishing is such an intricate sport. It's so complex. I mean, look at the baits you guys have got. Keeping data like that to yourself, it's all going to be public one day anyway. Let's just get there sooner rather than later. But I understand where you're coming from. I'm not pointing fingers. I really and truly do understand it. You want to protect special stuff. Anyway, so here, I mean, this is great data. If you want to check how accurate a chart like this is, try and get to an area that is close to a shoreline somewhere and see what that first line is. This one's a bit off. Okay. You're going to have to compensate here. It's very difficult to know if that's going to be your 1 foot mark there, and if this was actually recorded when the dam was full, it's very difficult to actually know. Any recordings that are done when the dam is 100% would rectify this, or at least those new recordings would then be accurate. But any recordings that are added while a dam is low like this, if you're not compensating for your level when you upload to Insight Genesis, it's a bit of a problem. But yeah, let's just have a look here. Here's some great information. Look at that. That is really great. Look at the detail which you get there. While we're here, interesting thing. Let's go and have a look at the sediment quickly. There's the sediment. What have we got there? What is this? Oh, there we go. Okay. As you can see, sediment for Zanine is actually quite good. And again, guys, remember you can split this screen up. You know, just hit pages and then go chart plus chart. You know, that was it there. You know, but I'm not going to do it now. You get the idea. So you can watch sediment. You can watch Insight Genesis. You can watch SA Inland. All sorts of things. You can watch it at the same time. I can't believe it. 23 minutes past. And I haven't even showed you the hoop yet. Guys, we're going to run a little bit late tonight because I have to show you the hoop. The hoop is really fantastic. But let's zoom down to bronchies quickly. Where is it? Lawrence. There's the river. I think that's it. Malcolm, yeah, there's Broncos Spade. Hi, Johnson. We'll be able to overload the sediment data over onto the Bronchies chart. Yes, there we go. What I've got here, let's look at this data here. I've got a low-level satellite imagery here, and we've got the SA inland charts. This data actually looks very accurate to me. You see this 1 foot line? Well, hang on, all of a sudden this is in meters. Okay, that's something you're also going to have to watch out for. Some of them looks like they were done in feet, some were done in meters. If you want to see if it changes that, you can go to your settings, you can go to units and change your depth to meters, and let's see if that value changed. No, it didn't. Okay, guys, just remember with your SA inland charts, that's also something interesting. I've also just learned something now. Be careful. Some of it is in meters, some of it is in feet, so watch out. I need to go back and change that depth to feet before I do anything. Settings, I'm going to go to units, I'm going to go to depth, change that to feet. Always use feet, the freshwater guys. You'll see with my charts, with the FishTec charts, if you change that depth value from feet to meters, it'll actually change these values that you've got in front of you here, but it doesn't do it with the SA inland chart. Okay, Malcolm, you wanted to see what it looked like with the sediment chart. Sediment chart, there we go. There's your sediment chart. And what you can do here is you can swap. You know, you can split the screen from side to side. Let's actually just see if there is something here for bronchies on the... Yes, there we go. Okay, there's not much. There isn't too much that's been done here, but this is Insight Genesis. This is somebody who's driven here and gone and recorded that. Let's do a comparison there. Let's drop our pin on 30 foot. We know that's a 30-foot mark. Go back to Lawrence, and that would give you an idea. We know, look at that. That's actually very accurate. 30 feet on your Insight Genesis, that's 10 meters. You see that? That's very accurate. Now, there might not be the most amazing amount of detail here, but that is very accurate. So, but you've got to now remember, that's not feet, that's meters. So, compensating, learning how to work with the charts, with the data that is available, this is the type of thing that you're going to pick up. One last quick peek at the sediment for bronchies. Not a very exciting dam, is it? There's some stuff there, some erosion over there. Let's go back to, I don't know if you'd see anything there. No, no good. Okay, guys, very important. How are we doing time-wise? 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Guys, I've got to show you. I was going to show you a whole lot of stuff on Nandoni. I know there's something coming up at Nandoni. You know what? Let's have a quick squiz at Nandoni. What have we got for Nandoni? We've got that. We've got, what was Nandoni? I think it was called Tulamela. Okay, let's just see if there's any. Tulamela. There's some recordings down there. Let's go and have a look down there. Okay, again, this is Insight Genesis, so this is quite accurate. You're looking at 30-foot mark there in that area, 30 foot there. You can see the trees nice and easy here. You've got a guideline on this depth data here all around you, going all the way back into this channel here. Look at all these trees and this point, and I don't know what the level of this dam is at the moment, but boy, oh boy, look at that. All this type of stuff. You know, even if you know the dam quite well and you've seen it on Google Earth and whatnot, you know, to try and trust your memory, and then while you're here, whereas this you've got on the boat with you. You know what I mean? It's really awesome. Let's just see what we've got from a sediment perspective. Sediment. Okay. There's your sediment. Wave, hey. Not a great sediment. Not a great sediment. But guys, if you can make out heads or tails of what's going here on this is probably one of the poorest ones that I've seen. No, it is by far. It is the poorest one that I've ever seen. But anyway, this guy obviously just picked up his paycheck at the end of the month and did the bare minimum. Anyway, what I'd like to do is go to Lawrence. I want to zoom out. How are we doing time-wise? Guys, time is up, but hang in there. Hang in there. Guys, those of you that have to go, thank you very much for attending. Those of you who are sticking around, 5 minutes. Sorry, we are going to run over a little bit. Give me 5 minutes. I want to talk about the work quickly. Okay. The whoop, we had absolutely nothing before. If you look at the Lawrence chart, there was nothing. Even if you look at, that's obviously before they even built it. If we go to view, categories, and we go and turn the water on, just the river. That's all there is. There isn't even an outline. But what is interesting is, look how accurate that river is, really. That's the river running through on the old satellite imagery while they were busy building the dam wall. So this alone is going to give you some great information, and I'm sure you can get some value out of this. But I'd like to show you what you can do next. You can go back and go to the whoop. There it is there. Now, this data that you see here, this data I got from Vion Wraith. I hope you don't mind me telling the folks, but you did put it up public on Facebook, and Vion, I don't know where you got it from, but really well done, and thank you for sharing it with all of us. I've obviously grabbed it and added it to these charts, but you've got everything here under the categories, and you can turn these categories. You'll see these categories now have changed. You can turn certain things on and off, there. I've turned that on. There's your contours. Those are your contours and your creeks. You see this area here. I'm just going to zoom in here quickly. If I go back to categories and I turn that number 1 off, look what happens. I've turned the creek, those little creeks, and the main contour lines, those are off. You can go back and turn them on. And remember, these categories change from chart to chart to chart. It's not the same categories. So there, I've turned them back on again. You can say, I just want to see rocks, or I just want to see tree lines. Then, of course, you can do that. But and it gets really, really intricate in some of these areas. But I want to find something. Let's take something like that down there. Okay, this starts getting a little bit busy. This is obviously a very fishable area. What was down there beforehand? You can go here, go there, go up to Lawrence, and you can see that's what was there before. It was just the old road there. Go back to the Hoop, identify other bits and pieces of structure and what have you. Look at these points. These lines, can you see these like hash, triple hash lines all over the place? Those are rocky areas. So learn those areas. The other thing that's here is something like this. You've got obviously bush. You can see all the bush. You've got more rocky area. You've got dwellings. Obviously, they'd put little buildings here. If you want to see what that looked like, maybe even before the building was even there, go back to your old satellite imagery and you can see that area was cleaned out. There was somebody there. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. Somebody needs to get to De Hoop and do a little bit of, what do you call it? A little bit of inside Genesis. That would really be nice. But we do have this in the meantime, and there's a lot of information here. Guys, I'm well over my time. I'm going to leave that there. Right, guys, I can't believe that's another hour gone so quickly. If I missed, let me just see, elevation, Johan van Kopenhagen, elevation chart. Oh, yes, it certainly would have, Johan. That would have been great. But I never got there and we didn't have a chance to record it with the drone. And let's hope we don't get another drought like what we've recently been through. But if it does ever happen, I'm sure somebody will get out there, if not myself, and record it. But guys, once again, the guys that did attend, thank you for the comments. I hope you learned something about the charts that we have available for the Northern Province areas. Like I said, there is more. You know, there's an actual HD chart for Vaal River West and Vaal River East coming soon. But we're going to talk about that another time, and we're going to go into that in great detail. For any of you that are interested in these charts, you can get hold of your local dealer, any one of your Lawrence dealers, and just tell them, guys, I want those Northern Provinces charts. I want those SA Inland charts. Send me a couple of those Elite TI-12s. I'd like to put 2 on my bow, 2 on my console, and we'll make sure that Lawrence SA sends them those units and get them to you as soon as possible. We are beyond the small units. We can go big now. At these prices that we're looking at for the TI now, there's no excuse for a small unit. Go big. It really is a great, great unit. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you again second week of June. Wow, can you believe it? Guys, good evening. Cheers.